I was thinking earlier, it may not be your two teams you 100% have at the top of your pecking order, but these are the two most important football teams for you, and neither one of them are having any success, bro. It is not good right now, is it? It is not.
No, it's not. Listen, I got the Boston Celtics, and
right.
Unfortunately, they're not going to go 82-0 this year. They did lose a week and a half ago, but yeah, I can't think of anything even remotely close. Since I was a freshman at Florida State in '87, they went through that 14-year run of top four finishes, and yeah, there's been some lean years, but nothing. And then you add the team here on Sunday. It's not even in the same stratosphere. It's been, and I've always said this, and people don't believe me. I like the off season more than in season because everything in season is measured by wins and losses. The off season, you can look ahead, you can watch them practice, you can kind of forecast what you think, but it's not stamped with a W or a loss. So I'm one of the rare guys out there who actually does like out of football season more than in season.
Now, Rick, at this particular point, would you like to see the younger guys play at this game? I mean, because the season right now at 1-7, would you rather see some of the young talent get some reps?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Leon. I mean, why not? I mean, finally this past week, Mike Norvell talked about how changes are coming. Now, I think he just did that to kind of calm down all the noise that is going on. And obviously, if you looked at the stadium against North Carolina, I've never seen anything like that. It was just awful. I mean, the fans have spoken, and they're not supporting this football team. So, he's tried the youth movement at quarterback. I still think he's kind of screwed that up, even though Kromenhoek did not play well against North Carolina. And you're starting to see younger wide receivers, the freshmen, finally get involved. You get more Cam Davis. If he was healthy, he's missed a couple of games at running back. You're starting to see a couple of other guys now, like Earl Little, for instance, a transfer from Alabama, getting more playing time the last couple of weeks in the secondary. He barely played at all in the first, I guess it would be 7 or 8 games. So, yeah, the youth movement is definitely underway, and I think you'll see that for the next 3 football games.
All right, so the question now becomes is recruiting and transfer portal. Does this shock of a season, Rick, if you had to just come out right now and say this as of today, does this shock of a season convince him that maybe relying on the portal so much isn't the way to go and that he has to recruit and do it more organically than with the portal?
Absolutely, but you have to do it that way at least one more year this year. This recruiting class is going to be awful. I mean, realistically, unless you just throw out offers or you can somehow get the NIL to work in your favor, I mean, you're looking at legitimately about 12 kids who are going to be a part of this year's signing class. And again, they'll take more, but I think they'll reach. They'll start taking 3 stars, and they'll be taking guys that other premier schools are not offering. And you'll see Florida State, get a kid who could have gone to what would be described as, lesser programs. And instead of battling the top programs that surround Tallahassee the way that they've always recruited, that is not going to be the case. The transfer portal worked for a few years. It exploded in their face this year. But because of what has happened with this roster, they have no choice. For the 2025 season, Mike Norvell has to go back and get into the transfer portal and try to get as many players as he can from other colleges, kids who have played at this level. That's not the way you want the future of this football team to be. But in the here and now, that has to be the approach from Mike Norvell coming up here in December and January.
Let me throw this at you real quick, okay? You and I have been doing this a long time. Right now, in the current 24/7 sports team rankings of recruiting, Florida State is 47th. Florida is 51st. Have you ever, in all the time you've been following recruiting, and you've been following recruiting a long time, seen that, and could you ever imagine that happening?
No, absolutely not. With all the talent in this state, I mean, you should just recruit yourself, even if you're having really down seasons. It's amazing to me. But, I think the big measure that we saw with recruiting and how it changed, even going back 15, 20 or so years ago, is that every game now is on TV. I mean, it was a time in recruiting where you could say, all right, you come play with us, you're going to get these nationally televised games. Your mom and dad are going to be able to see you play. Every single game now is out there and it's available to see. So that hurt them a little bit. I also don't believe that today's kids care as much about tradition, about legacy, and that applies everywhere, not just in Tallahassee and in Gainesville. I think that that's all over the place. Today's kids are more about themselves, and now you add the NIL to it, and they'll go to a school that's maybe not as recognized, or a school that's not considered one that can play in a New Year's Day bowl, but they're getting more money and they're getting a good opportunity. So we've seen the entire landscape change in the world of college football. And the other side of that is Florida seems really fixable. It does. Now, whether they keep Billy Napier or not, I think a lot of that depends on how they play here and whether DJ Lagway plays over the next 4 ball games, 3 very difficult opponents, and you go into Tallahassee, which they should win, but it's still a rivalry football game. You can fix that by replacing your coach. You can fix that by knowing that you have a quarterback once he's healthy in Lagway. And I will credit Florida. I mean, I watched them again this weekend. That team plays hard. They're playing like they really want him to be the coach. Well, that's not the case in Tallahassee. I've been talking about this with you guys for quite a while. I mean, it feels like quite a few guys on that Florida State roster have mailed it in, and they're not playing as hard as they could, and that's very disappointing.
Yeah, it does suck. We're talking with Rick Ballou at Ballou 1010XL. You hear him into the night later on, and you know the program as well as anybody. And just going back to what you originally said, and I'm looking at Leon when I'm saying this as well, is that kids grew up wanting to go to Florida State, grew up wanting to go to Florida, and the same for Miami. And that is, we are so far removed from that, Rick. And then the other part of it is that you are asking guys to come in on basically a 250-day basis. Every 250 days, you're renewing a roster. Guys got to get to know each other, and the level of commitment, it simply is not there the way it used to be. No,
it's not. And this isn't just a football thing. This is just today's kids, today's generation. I'll give you a great example. One of our sponsors over at Showtime Sports Cards. I'm a long-time baseball card collector from years and years ago. By the way, if you're thinking of robbing my house, my good ones are in a safety deposit box, so you're not going to find them here.
Yeah.
But when I was 12, if I could get a Hank Aaron card or a Don Drysdale card or a Sandy Koufax or a Willie Mays, I mean, that's what it's all about. You can go into this Showtime Cards now on Phillips, and you can get the entire series from like 1995 for like less than $20. Today's kids could care less about getting a Kirby Puckett or a Jim Rice or a Dale Murphy or a Mike Schmidt. They'd rather have, a brand new Ohtani card or a brand new Freddie Freeman card. It completely boggles my mind how today's youngsters care more about right now and who's relevant compared to the founding fathers, the people who built it all. And it's not only in sports. I think it's in everyday life. And, there used to be something about, loving your granddad and wanting to hear his stories. I think today's kids would much rather sit down and play a video game.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here. Thanks so much for checking out 1010XL Seminoles page. If you're looking for more college football content, you can head over to the Gators page, or if you want some professional football content, check out our 1010XL Jaguars page.